Welcome everyone to this year's Zero Project Conference. My name is Ernst Steinberg and I'm a project assistant at the Zero Project. I'm a white male with blonde hair in my mid-20s and I'm wearing a dark blue suit today. It is a great pleasure to welcome you in the name of the Zero Project family to this session on inclusive and accessible universities. A topic that is essential for us and essential for our aim to create a world with zero barriers. Yesterday I listened to a discussion on the importance of media coverage when it comes to disability inclusion. A gentleman from the Washington Post raised a very valid and essential point. He talked about the value of taking your time and really being precise in the way you communicate and report on questions of disability. This is especially true in the context of higher education, where minds are molded and where there has to be a place for each and every one of us. In a fast-paced world like the one we live in, it is not always easy to take your time and really be precise and sincere in the way you do things. It seems like we're chasing deadlines all the time, and I'm sure many of you know what I'm talking about. Well, I think that taking one's time in a world like this is actually a virtue, and we should strive for it. That being said, I want to thank everyone on this panel and in the audience for taking the time and going the extra step. Before I hand over to our chair of this session, Jason Weedon from the Central European University, please note that we will have some time for Q&A at the end of this session. Remember your questions, write them down, and we will have some time at the end. Now I will hand over to Jason. Over to you.
Ernst, thank you very much for the kind introduction. Can everyone hear me okay? In the room, yes. I'm Jason Weedon, as Ernst mentioned. I am a white male in my late 40s, wearing a blue suit and a purplish tie with semi-thinning brown hair, right? This requires some honesty, right, to describe yourself, I think, in that regard. I'm also the Director of Philanthropy and Strategic Partnerships at Central European University, and I'm so pleased to be here with you today. The work that you do in ensuring that there are zero barriers to access is incredibly important, and I'm honored to have the invitation. Thank you, Ernst. Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Mr. Essel, as well, for the opportunity. I also want to acknowledge Anniko Kellner, who is CEU's Equal Opportunity Officer, and Natalia Nikic, who is CEU's Disability Services Officer, for their help and support in putting this conversation together for you today. I also, as you might imagine, at the forefront of my mind and all of our minds today are the more than 700 Ukrainian students, faculty, staff at the CEU. And we're thinking of them and we'll offer whatever support that we can to them at this moment of crisis. It's also in my mind that CEU was founded more than 30 years ago in 1991 after the changes of 1989 to usher in new democracies in the former Soviet Union and Central and Eastern Europe to prepare a next generation of leaders to lead democratic change. So it's rather poignant at this moment in which much of that is in question, I think, around the world, that we are here today having this conversation. Let me tell you a little bit more about CEU and my institution. CEU, or Central European University, is an American and European English language university based in Austria and Hungary. We have a range of undergraduate and graduate programs in the humanities and social sciences. Today, 30 years on, we think of CEU as a new model for international education, a center of study for contemporary economic, social, and political challenges, and a source of support for building open and democratic societies that respect human rights, and most importantly, human dignity. Over the years, we've pioneered a number of programs for populations in need, including Roma, refugees, and others. It was 15 years ago or so that we began thinking about a new campus in Budapest. Prior to that, we had been in a number of different buildings built for different purposes, apartment buildings, office buildings, an old palace, right, as well. And we began earnestly putting together a plan for a modern, learning environment for our students, but also an accessible and inclusive one. That building, or that set of buildings, opened in 2016, and we achieved a long-held dream. In 2019, CEU was forced to move to Vienna, and we attempted to replicate some of that success in terms of an inclusive learning environment at our temporary campus in the 10th district of Vienna. Now, we're embarking on yet another campus building effort, a permanent campus for the university here in Vienna. We aim for that to be inclusive. We aim for universal access, but it's challenging because it will be situated in the historic architecture and fabric of Vienna. We have a lot to learn, and we put together a multi-stakeholder access group to inform our campus design in line with best practice to create an accessible and an inclusive learning environment for all. I may be coming back to many of you for help and suggestions as this moves forward over the next couple of years. And that's why I'm here today, to listen and learn from you all, as well as our speakers and awardees that we'll be presenting in just a few moments. Today, we'll hear from a variety of projects who have developed or supported real-life solutions for students and teachers with disabilities to expand access to higher education in their respective countries. Our first speaker today is Fatma Al-Qassimi, who is director, and Fatma, I think I can say founder, right, as well, of the Student Accessibility Services Department at Zayeed University in the United Arab Emirates. She and her department has been recognized as an Apple Distinguished School for empowering students of determination through the use of assistive technologies. Fatma, thank you so much for being with us, and we look forward to hearing more about your work. Fatma will be joining us by video, I believe.
Yes.
Fatma, over to you. Hello, hello, hi.
I think you're muted, Fatma.
Yes. Good afternoon, everyone from Dubai. I'm just talking from Dubai, actually. It's about 3 hours difference from Vienna. So, yeah, this is the afternoon here. And please play the video while I'm speaking. The second slide. Yes, okay. So since the Accessibility Services Department was founded in 2010, I was committed to empower students with disabilities with the best and latest technology to ensure the independence and improve their learning journey. So since 2016, we became an Apple Distinguished School. Since then, all SAS staff are trained on Apple accessibility features to support students with physical and learning difficulties. As a result of SAS, SAS staff have accomplished a significant milestone where Apple technology is integrated with the services they offer to students with disability, where they conduct one-to-one hands-on training on accessibility features and apps. The spirit of innovation has guided us to create an enabling environment to have clear vision on Apple technology utilization. This approach of SAS have been welcomed by several stakeholders from Zayeed University community and the external community who worked with us to shape SAS model of providing individualized services to students with disability using the latest technology. And today I will present the Apple Distinguished School Award that SAS has been winning since 2016. Second slide, please. Okay, this is actually our latest picture celebrating the recent Apple Awards for the years 2021 to 2024. Okay, since SAS demonstrated efficiency and innovation in 3 main areas, where SAS specialists are the main providers of services to students with disability to follow up their academic progress using Apple technology. Could you please press on the pictures? Yes, the vision. SAS is committed to improving and advancing SAS staff and faculty knowledge and skills related to the latest technology to empower students and support students with disability to become independent learners. Then the learning, SAS is committed and spreading the culture of technical innovation and inclusion among students with disabilities and faculty inspired by Apple technology to increase the students' academic performance, sense of belonging, innovation, and creating and fulfilling the needs of the students to enhance their success. Also, SAS is working in parallel to increase the accessibility, technology capacity of the faculty. In the success, SAS is constantly striving to make innovative and creative informed decisions based on evidence provided by the research and driven by the data to ensure quality results. One of the results that we are proud of in the project and that students who enrolled with us in 2018 showed an increase in their CGPA by 0.9% when compared to their CGPA in 2021. Next slide, please. And here is our one of our specialists who will just say a few words. If you can just click on that.
Upon my appointment as an accessibility specialist at Zayeed University's Student Accessibility Services Department, I knew I had to immediately immerse myself in Apple technology and the built-in accessibility features in order to provide the best technological services to my students with physical disabilities. After completing and earning my Apple Teacher Certification badges, I was able to turnkey the skills learned to my students. What I did not expect was how Apple technology would impact me in both my professional and everyday life. I began to explore accessibility features, accessible apps, and AirDrop with my iPhone, iPad, and MacBook. All materials needed to work with my students were readily available, which was extremely helpful while working from home during COVID-19. In addition, Apple technology helps support the collaboration between the accommodations officer and myself to ensure accessible content and course materials for our students. Apple technology has proven to be not just an educational or classroom tool, but an independent life tool, because accessibility, as we know it, is for everyone.
Thank you. Next slide, please. Okay, now I will walk you through some of SAS solutions to serve students with disabilities. In 2019, we managed to establish the Abdulwahid Al-Rastumani Inclusive Learning Center inspired by Apple. And currently, we secured funding for another inclusive center in Abu Dhabi campus to mirror our success in Dubai and increase the Apple technology integration across both campuses. However, we have two state-of-the-art assistive technology resource centers on both campuses, which were funded by two Emirati philanthropists. Next, please. Okay, one of SAS main objectives is to provide ongoing training and workshops to students with physical and learning disabilities, such as tackling ADHD with Apple integrated time management tools, reducing the effect of dyslexia using Apple apps and accessibility features, training students with vision impairment on voiceover. Next, please. We also focus on enhancing faculty awareness, knowledge, and skills in accommodating students with disabilities in the classroom, which is in line with the Universal Design for Learning. And these some of the workshops that we provide: administrating academic accommodations during remote learning, etiquette while interacting with students with disabilities, Universal Design for Learning, and empowering all learners in the classroom, creating accessible course content material, and introducing the inclusive educators terminology, personalizing education with iPad accessibility features, and designing clear questions. Next, please. SAS created this iPad wheel apps. The wheel consists of 4 main categories based on executive functions, which are life skills, study skills, organization skills, critical thinking. Please click on the image. The same image, please. Yes. Okay. If you can see here, no, on the same page, the same image. Slide number 9. Yes. Yes. Here we can see that each category has a different app, so that it can help people like teachers or faculty or even students themselves to recognize which app will go with which category. And of course, you can share this. We can share this with you upon your request.
I'm so sorry to interrupt, but ask if you could wrap up your presentation. Thank you so much.
Okay. Okay. We at the end. In 20, so here we're just talking about the 2018 ADS application that shows based on data, and the next one, which is the last one, our application, which shows the Apple technology utilization for student of determination based on evidence. And of course, here you can just like scan the QR code so you can get the application. Thank you so much.
Fatma, thank you. It was a terrific presentation, and particularly given the holistic nature of the solutions that you've been able to put forward through the SAS office. And ask all of you online and, well, in the room in particular, right, we will have time to ask Fatma questions later on in the session. Our next presenter is Mohammed Arifur Rahman. He's founder and CEO of Young Power and Social Action, a leading NGO in Bangladesh for sustainable development. They have developed an e-learning center that provides accessible learning materials and volunteer support for students with visual impairments at the University of Chittagong in Bangladesh. With that, Mohammed Arifur, I'll turn it over to you to share what you've done.
Thank you.
Hello.
Yes. Am I audible?
Yes, perfectly.
Okay. Yeah. So this is Mohammed Arifur Rahman. I'm from Bangladesh. So I would like to present my presentation, which is titled Bangladesh First Inclusive University. You know, why our initiative? We know that the students with disabilities studying at the tertiary level facing uncountable problems lagging in their studies, and receiving information and developing their skills of their livelihood, and eventually face difficulty transition to the work. And ICT have the potential to make significant improvements to the lives of persons with disabilities by allowing them to enhance their educational, social, cultural, political, and economic integration in all levels. So what we did, YPSA as a non-profit social development organization, we established an accessible e-learning center at the University of Chittagong. University of Chittagong is the second largest public university in our country, which is located in the southeastern part of Bangladesh. The city name is the Chittagong. So we established that accessible e-learning center at that university for the students with disabilities, and provided them with the opportunity to adequate ICT-based professional development trainings, accessible reading materials and information, and other necessary facilitation. The next slide, please. And the YPSA, we are not alone established or initiated that initiative. We got support from the government. Aspire to Innovate @Y program of the Bangladesh government, they provided the necessary technical support to us. And one corporate organization is called Ekekan Foundation. They actually came up with the financial resources. And the University of Chittagong, they provided several in-kind contributions, such as space for the center, additional desktop computers, utility cost, and security maintenance of the learning center. And the center is located in the heart of the Chittagong University. So the relevance and the appropriateness of this initiative. Bangladesh government has made ICT an integral part of any disability inclusive development agenda. So this is like the policy decision of our government. So YPSA has already converted all textbook of grade 1 to 12 into full text, full audio multimedia talking book, and developed Bangladesh first accessible dictionary. You know, our organization, we are last 1 decade actually, we are trying to improve the situation, and these are our contribution to the nation. So all the textbook of Bangladesh class 1 to 12 class, we converted as a full text, full audio multimedia talking book. And we know that the main spirit of the disability movement is that nothing about us without us. So whatever we do in our center, most of our participants, the planner and the producer and the users, all are the persons with disability. The University of Chittagong has become declared and accepted as the first inclusive university in Bangladesh. So this is the good information for us. And the effectiveness of this initiative. The next slide. Since its inauguration, the center have been making learning more accessible, and it also providing its target group with training that is contributing towards their professional development. Here there is a quote from one of our learner. She is Shapna Akhtar. Chittagong University Learning Center has become the catalyst for my educational and professional skills development. So this is like one quote of our one students with disability. Students are become more independent and now handle their academic and personal issues on their own as their know-how on ICTs has increased. So, and then efficiency of the center. The center has proven its popularity among the beneficiary groups because of the center is already well known and also is covered the different by the media. So it's become like a very popular in our country and proven to be highly cost effective. And the training and study materials provided by the e-learning center has also proven to be effective and efficient throughout the shift to online learning during the COVID-19 pandemic. Last, more than 2 years actually, we are facing the huge learning difficulties because of the COVID-19. But and then our training and the study materials gives a huge help to our students. The digital study contents are easy to carry, store and use via different open source software. Next slide, please. Impact. After a few years of work from its inception until mid of 2021, the 60 students have received intensive ICT-based skill training at the center. And the teachers who are related with these students have been oriented to ensure education rights to students with disabilities. 2 dedicated volunteer groups have been developed at the Chittagong University to help our learners. And 100+ titles of tertiary level accessible reading materials have been developed under the e-learning center. Next slide, please. Sustainability, which is very much crucial, these issues. The training and support that the students got will continue to help them towards their future academic, professional, and personal endeavors. These students will be able to work as like peer educators for the newcomers, new students, and become like a role model for their peers. The establishment of Accessible E-Learning Center at the University of Chittagong was one of the key initiatives to make the universities inclusive in Bangladesh as a role model. Due to the innovative and efficient nature of this initiative, it could be easily replicated to any other university and institution in our country. YPSA, as a non-profit development organization, will scale up it, producing more accessible reading materials and providing advanced market-driven ICT training to the students with disabilities. And it will continue. An online portal for self-learning will be created. It's already started, and hopefully very soon it will come. At least 2 more universities will be added under this initiative by the end of 2023. So this is our expectation. Next slide, please. Obviously, with our this journey, we've encountered some of the barrier and challenges, which are lack of accessible infrastructure. What we have found, during all of the infrastructure with the universities are not accessible for the students. lack of high quality text-to-speech software in our own language, which is called the Bangla language, absence of copyright exception is the copyright law for the production of accessible reading materials in our country. Lack of expert trainers for ICT trainings, this is also we are facing, and lack of established library service for effective online mechanism for distribution of accessible reading materials to the students who are located in other parts of our country. Lack of awareness on accessible digital contents and relevant training facilities. Lack of motivation among some of the teachers towards ensuring the reasonable accommodation for students with disabilities. A scarcity of low-cost playback devices for accessible reading materials. So these are the some of the barriers we encountered during the implementation of this project. So in my last slide, I would like to conclude with a few sentences. For a long time, all universities remained inaccessible and were not able to fully satisfy the needs of the students with disabilities. More dedicated policy reform must be pursued to ensure that this kind of initiative got top priority and the facilities and services are born accessible and inclusive, whether academic or non-academic institutions. So it should be born accessible. So during the construction, we have to remember, and then for that reason, our recommendation is for a massive policy reform must be pursued and ensured. If effectively supported, maintained, and scaled up, the model of good practice will not only benefit the hundreds of students with disabilities studying at the tertiary level, but also their non-disabled peers, as well as can be regarded as an example that the Global South can follow. So thank you for your patient hearing.
Mohammed Arifur, thank you very much. And I know I join the entire audience in congratulating you in the e-learning center's role in becoming the first inclusive university in Bangladesh. And I look forward to the Q&A, and we can hear a little bit more about how you work to popularize the center and hear a little bit more perhaps about some of the partnerships that you've been able to build to ensure your success. Next, we have Josefina Ocampo, who is Associate Professor in Universal Design at the National University of Tucuman in Argentina. The university offers an elective course in accessibility and universal design for students in the Faculty of Architecture and Urbanism. Professor Ocampo will share more with you about the course right now. Josefina, are you with us?
Yes, thank you very much.
There she is. Hello, please go ahead.
Yes, good morning. My name is Josefina Ocampo. I define myself as a teacher because I like to teach and give tools to my students so that they can design with the user in mind. Furthermore, if that user is a person with a disability, they must think that this design must be lived in equal condition by all. The next slide, please. The students listen to the cases and receive the experience of people with disability who came to our classes to tell about their lives, their clothes. It is also an opportunity to put yourself in someone else's shoes. The next slide, please. In the dictation, our subject, we want to reach students with a learning based on empathy and awareness. The subject of universal design is a subject of learning and connection with the environment. It was stated 11 years ago in our Faculty of Architecture. The next slide, please. Teachers and students address an exchange of experience and also meet people with disabilities, learn from their experience and their special needs. Designing for human diversity is probably the most wonderful work that we architects can create, because we'll be sure that our future users will enjoy living those spaces with and independence and autonomy. Please, the next slide. In this photo, we can see teacher and student address and exchange of experience, and also meet people with disabilities, learn from their experience and their special needs, and that gives them tools for a professional future with another design perspective based on a person, the user. The tools will serve you throughout your professional lives. Put yourself in the place of the other, design so that accessibility is present but unnoticed. Please, the second slide. This team from the National University and the other universities of the country of Argentina, we organize different invitations to another professional. Please, the next slide. We are 4 teachers in the university, Maria Elena, Roberto, Fernando, and myself. It was created 11 years ago by my initiative, and even today I am greatly moved to see the path traveled and the extent of this work. We have at this moment 400 students in the classes of the subject of the design, universal design. So please, the next slide. This is our education center. This is the University of Tucuman, the Faculty of Architecture and the Urbanism of the National University of Tucuman. It is a study center with a large building capacity and a large number of students. Please, the second slide. We think that society is everyone and no reason to have to lose your rights, because designing is an act of love, and love should be for everyone. So, to the end, please, the second. Thank you, Zero Project, and thank you very much for allowing us to be visible.
And thank you, Josefina.
Thank you very much.
Greatly appreciate your presentation and hearing about your initiative and its success, and in particular, the 400 students in your universal design courses. That's a substantial number. Our next speaker is to my left, Wajdi Wazzan, Vice Dean for Persons with Disabilities within the Office of Student Affairs at King Abdulaziz University in Saudi Arabia. The Higher Education for All program at King Abdulaziz was introduced in 2014 to provide access to higher education for people with disabilities. It's an ambitious effort, and I know you'll enjoy learning more about it from Wajdi.
Thank you, Jason. Thank you, Ernest. And I have 19 minutes. That's good. So I'll take all of that time. And thank you, Zero Project, for this great project amid this pandemic. The project started in 2014 as we noticed that we have few number of students with disabilities at KAU. KAU is the largest public school in the kingdom. At one time, we had 120,000 students. It's a huge university. This one, yes. The mission of King Abdulaziz University is, at the beginning, is community responsibility, knowledge development, research, innovation, and entrepreneurship. The university is ranked very high in the universities in the Middle East. And so it is now the #1 university according to many ranking sites over there due to research. This is a general statement that we know that people with disabilities are between 15 and 20% of any population. But we have looked, and also in our country and around the world, that people with disabilities are underrepresented in higher education. I found figures that they are about, in some countries, less than 1% in higher education. This is to many contributing factors that I don't want to go into detail, but I think it is accessibility, quality, and should be studies to assert that, and quality of education in general school, because we in our country, we notice that students with disabilities, when they come to the universities, in some categories, they lack university level students. So the film will explain a lot about the project, and speak faster than me, so we'll finish on time. So okay, so how to play the movie.
جامعة الملك عبد العزيز، عمادة شؤون الطلاب، وكالة العمادة للأشخاص ذوي الإعاقة. في عام 2014 أجرت الجامعة تقييماً لمعرفة سبب قلة الطلبة من ذوي الإعاقة. خلص التقييم إلى أن سبب ذلك هو البيئة غير المهيئة وغير الملائمة لذوي الإعاقة، مما أدى إلى ضعف الإقبال والرغبة لديهم في الانضمام إلى التعليم الجامعي. على الفور وضعت الجامعة برنامجاً أسمته التعليم العالي للجميع، يهدف إلى تحسين الخدمات والبيئة الجامعية بما يتناسب مع مكانة الجامعة التي تتصدر الجامعات العربية في التصانيف العالمية. في عام 2014 إنشاء اللجنة العليا لرعاية الطلبة من ذوي الإعاقة برئاسة معالي رئيس الجامعة. وفي نفس العام صدر قرار معالي رئيس الجامعة بإنشاء مركز الطلبة ذوي الإعاقة. في عام 2015 بدأ مشروع سهولة الوصول للبيئة العمرانية بالجامعة. وفي عام 2016 إنشاء أول وكالة من نوعها بجامعات الشرق الأوسط، وكالة عمادة شؤون الطلاب لذوي الإعاقة. وفي عام 2018 اعتماد الخطة الاستراتيجية لتعليم الصم. وفي عام 2019 افتتاح السنة التأهيلية للطلبة الصم. وفي نفس العام 2019 اعتماد سياسات عدم التمييز تجاه الأشخاص ذوي الإعاقة عند التوظيف أو التعليم. وأسهمت هذه الجهود في تعزيز تواجد الطلبة ذوي الإعاقة وتسهيل اندماجهم في البيئة الجامعية. في عام 2014 كان عدد الطلاب من ذوي الإعاقة في الجامعة 60 طالباً يدرسون في تخصصات محدودة، جلهم من ذوي التحديات البصرية، فيما وصل عددهم في عام 2021 إلى 1189 طالب وطالبة، بينهم 76 في الدراسات العليا، منهم طالب وطالبة يدرسون الدكتوراه. كيف حققنا ذلك؟ لقد عملت الجامعة على عدة محاور لتحقيق النتائج المرجوة، وهي تحسين سهولة الوصول في الجامعة، التيسيرات الأكاديمية، تسهيلات القبول، المشاركة الكاملة في الحياة الجامعية، المساعدة على التوظيف بعد التخرج. وقد ساهمت هذه الجهود الكبيرة في حصول الجامعة على عدد من الجوائز وتحقيق إنجازات مهمة في تمكين ذوي الإعاقة. في عام 2019 الفوز ببطولة الاتحاد الرياضي للجامعات لذوي الإعاقة. وفي عام 2020 جائزة الزيرو بروجكت العالمية. وفي العام نفسه 2020 جائزة جدة للإبداع. وفي العام 2021 المركز الثالث عالمياً حسب تصنيف التايمز في إزالة الفوارق بين الطلبة وفق الهدف رقم 10 من أهداف التنمية المستدامة. ومع نهاية 2020 أصبحت الجامعة تضم 25% من مجموع الطلبة ذوي الإعاقة في جامعات المملكة. وتطمح الجامعة خلال الأعوام القادمة في إكمال هذه الرسالة السامية من خلال إنشاء معهد تمكين الأشخاص ذوي الإعاقة في عام 2022، استكمال برامج الصم في عام 2025. كل هذا يأتي ضمن سعي الجامعة لتحقيق رؤية المملكة 2030 في تمكين الأشخاص ذوي الإعاقة.
Now, I hope that you could catch up with the. It is a little bit small, I just noticed, so I'm sorry for that. But it is a comprehensive program that tackles every aspect in the university: administrative, policy, built environment, also innovation. In 2020, we came here for the Zero project. We have used Bluetooth to enhance movement of blind students. We have a lot of them. And the impact of this program, as Jason asked me before the beginning, is we have increased the number of students from 60 to, the figure is a little bit old. I got the figure before I'm coming here. It is 1,450 students with disabilities in the university. And it is increasing. Now we host, and it is an independent agency in the kingdom, measure the number of students in every university, and we host 25% of students with disability in the whole kingdom. And this put pressure at other universities to include students. Many, maybe 95% of students that we have in our university is coming from outside our city, from different parts in the kingdom. The future is good, and we are working hard. It is not enough. We are now opening new majors depending on disabilities, and also we are focusing in this coming 5 years on deaf education. Deaf education is very difficult, especially in our part of the world. Many reasons, but we are now having one program, and we promised to open one program every year. We have a center now we are establishing a center to train translators, because we don't have academic translator over there. Also, we have applied for the Institute on Empowering Persons with Disabilities, and this is before Corona. We were getting the approval, and then Corona came, so we are late 2 years. This will change the whole thing, because we would like the Institute to teach. Now I go to colleges and say, do that and do that. But when we have an institute, we will have programs that can be taught by the institute. I hope I'm doing good, huh? Okay, perfect. Good. So I reached the conclusion. Doing something like that is easy and difficult. Easy because it's the right of people with disabilities to go to higher education, and it needs support from the higher level in the institution. As we showed in the movie, in the film, and we always sit with the president of our university, and the vice president is with me in the conference. Always, and also with the deans. So any institution can follow that, and we have documented what we have done. So we would like, through Zero Project, to distribute this experience to other universities in the Middle East or the whole world. And thank you very much. And that's it. Thank you very much.
Wajdi, thank you. I know we're all struck, I think, by the comprehensive nature of higher education for all and your work, and I think I can join all of us in saying that we look forward to, we hope you get the Institute off the ground. We look forward to learning from you as part of the Institute as well, and following your work on deaf education in the future. We promised some time for questions, and now it's here. So look forward to, yes.
I am Antonio Martinez from Spain. I would like to do a very short comment and maybe demand, or if possible, ask for some feedback from the presenters. My comment has to do with, I think that when we talk about inclusive universities, we are thinking normally about persons with physical disabilities or blind persons or visually impaired persons or persons with or deaf persons, but we might forget persons with intellectual disabilities. Although our first presenter has in fact said something about that. No? But I think we should reflect on how to make also higher education accessible for persons with intellectual disabilities. Maybe persons with intellectual disabilities cannot follow regular degrees, cannot complete official degrees, but we have to include them some way in the higher education context. In Spain, in fact, there are now lots of universities, 30 universities, which thanks to the financing by ONCE Foundation, have incorporated programs, training programs for persons with intellectual disabilities at the university. Our university, Miguel Hernández University for Elche, was one of the first, and in fact we received, I mean, I don't want to talk about myself, but we received an award from Zero Project as innovative practice in 2018, I think, for this program. And well, I don't know if that's what we have to do, that's the solution. But I think that to implement programs, training programs for persons with intellectual disabilities in the universities is very important for them. It's very important to improve their self-esteem, their social skills, and also to improve the chances of getting unemployment. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. And colleagues, speakers, comments or thoughts on work happening in the area, in your universities in particular, supporting individuals with intellectual disabilities. Wajdi, please, yes.
Well, thank you for the excellent remark. Surely, student with intellectual disability has to be included, and we are trying hard with that at our university. Now we have autistic students going to College of Tourism, and we have graduated 2 batches, and they found work immediately, so we are happy with that. And always we are trying to find ways to teach students with learning disabilities, whatever. This is, I put the figures. If we put physical disabilities, they are only about 7% to 6% of population. The most of the disabilities is intellectual, so we have to include them. Thank you very much for your remark.
Wajdi, thank you. And
Yeah,
yes,
I would
please.
like to add some remarks on that as well. This is Fatma. Actually, in Zayeed University, since 2016, we started accommodating students with learning difficulties. Even some of those students, they come unidentified from the school system. They come to the university, they're not identified as a student with learning difficulties. But fortunately, we were able to recruit assessors, which are certified. Now we have over 160 students with different kinds of learning difficulties. For the intellectual disabilities, we still not able to accommodate them, as I think they will need a proper program or some kind of diploma, or it has to be like a planned project specifically for them. And we will try to do something like that, because we hear a lot of people and also a lot of parents are asking about this. So thank you for your question.
Thank you, Fatma. And Christo, I believe you had a question.
Thanks a lot. Not so much a question, but a comment. How pleased I am to hear the conversation about, and the question about education, higher education for people with intellectual disabilities. I work for Special Olympics, and with Special Olympics, we focus on people with intellectual disabilities and their inclusion also in the education system. We call that unified schools. Fatma, a real pleasure to hear the word people of determination. Special Olympics had World Games in the Emirates. Fantastic welcome.
Yes.
And that changed the whole narrative. from people with disabilities. Now we're talking about people of determination. We also have extensive research that demonstrates how including people with intellectual disabilities in the regular education institutions contributes to the social, emotional, and leadership skills of the people without disabilities who work together with their peers with intellectual disabilities. So it benefits, this inclusive system benefits everyone, not only the people with intellectual disabilities. I'll be happy to share the research if anyone needs convincing. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Christopher.
I also would like to tell you that I am in the higher committee here in the UAE for the Special Olympics. So I know about the unified schools, and we are working a lot now. There is a lot of here going on in the UAE to promote a lot of this, and we are helping so many people who didn't, some of them maybe were not even educated, and they are so happy and so much included in the whole society just because they joined these programs.
Fatma, we'll be sure and connect you and Cristo, right?
I remember Fatma from 3-4 years ago.
Make the Special Olympics
It's a pleasure to see you.
Well, good, terrific. Already connected then. Are there other questions from the group? I have one, which is we've been talking a bit about helping others learn, right? One of the themes of this conversation has been learning from each other. Wajdi, you shared about the Institute, right, and some of your future plans around learning. Perhaps we could go around and to each of the speakers and have them say a little bit what they're doing to learn from others and what they're planning, right, to share in the future in terms of learnings. If we could do that, perhaps we'll start with you, Wajdi, and then go to our colleagues on video.
Sure. Thank you very much for the question. Institute is a new thing that we are doing, and we have to learn. So I'm here to learn from you, from other universities, from the Zero project also. So when we establish the institute, we will have a higher steering committee to that institute so that we can bring experience from any part of the world and not invent everything from the beginning. So I know that. Thank you.
Wajdi, thank you. And colleagues on video, a little bit about what you're doing to share your success and to learn from others. Mohammed?
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
I'm echoing with you, Wajdi, that we are actually in process to learn, and also it's like a learning by doing process. Obviously, there is some good examples with the other institutions. So we are learning from them. At the same time, we are also sharing our experiences. So we are always sharing information as the government is supporting our initiative. So government also trying to promote the inclusivity, and also the not only the university, also with the other educational institutions. And one thing is that I'm grateful to Zero Conference that you gave us a scope to share our experience and at the same time also learn from others. So learning from others, this is also one of our approach, So hopefully it will continue.
Thank you, Mohammed. Josefina or Fatma?
For us, actually, we just started an outreach department in about a year and a half ago or 2 years. So we are actually would like to serve the community, and especially schools and universities. We are sharing our expertise with them by offering a lot of assistive technology training, especially with and also Apple accessibility feature training, because now the school children, if they are not well prepared for the university, it will be really difficult. And we find a lot of students who come to university, they struggle a lot because they haven't been trained, especially on technology. And that's a tool that's really empowering them, and it's really making learning much easier for them. So our aim now here is to help the community. We are starting programs. We are dealing with the government. We're dealing with the private entities, so that we can have like proper programs for them to support them with this. So in the pipeline, there will be a lot of training going on.
So on that note of continued learning, continued training, continued learning from each other, I'd like to offer a round of applause for our speakers,
And
right?
mostly,
Oh, Josefina, excuse me.
Jason,
Yes.
awareness, mostly awareness. This is what we lack, awareness, that when you spread the awareness among the whole community, then it's much easier to support students.
Yes, and Josefina, I know you wanted to get in here as well, so we'll offer you just a moment.
Yes, can I speak in Spanish? A little.
Sí, perfecto,
Comment.
Josefina.
Sure.
Y si lo hacemos corto porque no tenemos
no-
tanto tiempo y lo voy a traducir, ¿vale?
Sí,
Gracias.
sí. En nuestra universidad se planea y se plantea un trabajo en la vivienda, y esto va a ir acompañado también con el uso de las nuevas tecnologías y el aprendizaje interdisciplinario con otras áreas.
Our university is planning to do interdisciplinary work and work a lot with new technologies and try to implement that into our courses, also with inclusive living approaches.
Thank you,
Muchas
Josefina.
gracias, Josefina.
Muchas gracias to Josefina, and also to our panel. If we'd offer them a round of applause, and thanks for being here with us today.
Thank you all.
Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot,
Thank
everyone.
you very much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.